Hey to all the senior high school students, no, for today, I would like to share with you this topic entitled Contemporary Arts Materials Application. All right. So we know that in contemporary arts, no, the utilization or the use of arts materials and then the techniques, no, these are very important, no, in contemporary arts, no. And this tutorial or this discussion will help you to understand the relationship, no, first the importance of techniques, no, and how techniques is being utilized in order to enhance the artworks or the art crafts, and also the support, no, the support or the utilization of raw materials as a support, no, in the technique that you will be choosing on your artwork and art crafts. So let's begin. So first, let us try to identify the objectives, no, for our lesson for today. First, to justify the use of materials and the application of the technique. So all of the slides that you will be seeing right now will focus on the justification or justifying the on how materials are used in order uh, to choose or to support the use of specific technique, no, in doing a particular artwork or art crafts. And also, these are the essential questions. What are the common techniques and materials used or found in your community? And letter B is how do these materials and technique help improving the urban planning. Okay, so this will be the focus of our discussion for today. Now, I included the urban planning because we know the fact that there is what we call sense of urgency that we need to contribute, no, in the beautification and in making our society organized. No, it is our obligation as citizen to do our part, no, to contribute in the beautification and how to make our community, our country organized. Because if you are living in a community that is full of hazards and obstructions, no, that will not be safe environment for people to live in. That's why I included the context of urban planning, because urban planning is actually one of the techniques, no, used in contemporary arts, and there's a lot of available materials that can be used in order to beautify and to make our community organized and safe for people to thrive or to live. Now, first question. So there are different questions that we will be exploring for today's lesson. First, how do materials affect the technique? Okay, so materials affect the technique used in making Philippine art because the result of craftsmanship relies on the quality, durability, and authenticity of the materials being used. So this is correct. Okay, in choosing a materials that we are going to use for a particular technique, no? Kasi we have to understand that there are different types or kinds of techniques that we can use, no, in contemporary arts. What is important that the materials that you're going to choose, no, for a particular technique, make sure that those materials will comply to the following criteria: quality, durability, and authenticity. When we say quality, make sure that the material is really appropriate to use in the particular technique that you will choose, no? And durability, make sure that the materials are durable, meaning it can last for more than a years, no? So that is very important because we do not want to produce an art form or art crafts that is not durable. So the durability of your art form and art crafts will depend on the durability or the kind of raw materials that you are going to use. Now, authenticity, this is also very important. This is where your creativity will come in. So authenticity, it means that you have integrated your own interpretation and your own creativity, okay, on how you will show and present your art crafts and artwork in such a way that it will be identified as your personal or individual accomplishments. Okay? Next, why is the technique and media use important? So technique is different from media. So why is it that these are all important? Okay? Technique is a way in which an artist creates a work of art using the media she decides to use. Okay? The technique and media the artist uses will change the finished results and the messages and or feelings it conveys to the viewer. So we can see here that techniques, no, is different from media. Technique is the on how the artist will create, okay, the output or the artwork, meaning the creativity is there, the procedure or the step-by-step procedures on how the artist will finish the art crafts or the artwork should be followed properly. Now, the media is what type of materials, okay, should I say materials, or what type of technology, okay, the artist will use. Okay, so that's the media. Okay, it's referring to the mode, no, to the type of technology that the artist will use. For example, if the technique is painting, so what type of media the artist will use? Would it be a mural? Okay, would it be a portrait? So those are the types of media, no? And we can also include there the types of colors, no, that the artist should use if the technique that the artist will choose is actually painting. Okay. Next is, what are the importance of using local materials in making an art? Yan. So using locally available resources for art help in the preservation of environment. Okay, a significant and practical aspects of art in material significance. The items used by artists while making an art piece affects both the form and the material. So every material delivers something special in a creative process. So we can see here that by using or supporting local materials or local raw materials, we are actually supporting local producers of those materials. So we are helping them to get their profit, no, to generate income. So you are supporting already the local farmers, and at the same time, we are helping, no, the propagation and the promotion of our and the preservation of our environment. So we can see the different benefits if we're going to use local materials or local raw materials for our artworks or art crafts. Okay. And we are also promoting the ingenuity of the Filipinos, and at the same time, we are showing to the world how rich is the natural resources, no, that our country have at present. Okay? Next is, how important is the technique in making art? Yan. So technique is very important because technique and styles are important for an artist. It's a signature, tells viewers that the painting was painted by someone. So the style and the technique, it will tell who is the maker, okay, or the master or the owner of that artwork and art crafts. Because in technique, no, it has what we call creativity. It also imbibes the creativity and the interpretative ability of the artist. Therefore, combining the creativity and the interpretation ability or the interpretative ability of the artist, no, it will result into a perfect artwork, art form, and art crafts. And that can be associated to the master, to a person who made that artwork or art crafts. Okay? Next question. So how do we justify the use of materials and techniques in contemporary arts? All right. So there are 7 suggestions on how do we justify. How can we justify the use of materials and techniques in contemporary arts, no? Because we're talking about justifying, no? So how do we justify? So first, you need to identify the technique that you will use in doing the art crafts or artwork. So we have to understand, no, the different types and kinds of technique that we are going to use in contemporary art. So there are different techniques that we already studied previously. Okay, these techniques can be utilized or used effectively and appropriately in order to produce a remarkable and beautiful artworks, art forms, and art crafts. What is important that when you use or identify the technique, make sure that you are knowledgeable and competent in using a particular technique. For example, if the technique that you're going to use in your art is carving, if you are not knowledgeable and you are not skillful in using carving, we cannot expect that you will produce a beautiful carve work or an artwork, no, yung carving, no, because you don't possess the competence in doing that. That's why it is also important when you choose a technique, make sure that you have a full knowledge and competence and skills on that technique that you are going to employ or use in your art works or art crafts. Second, after identifying the technique, you need to enumerate the procedures on how to utilize the techniques. So when I say enumerate the procedures, you have to identify the step 1 to the last steps of the procedure of the technique that you are going to use. And why do we need to identify the procedures? In order for us to easily evaluate, no, and track the progress of our activity. Okay? So when you enumerate the procedure, it will be easy for you to assess and evaluate if you are doing well, if you are following the procedure, if you are doing a positive progress on the artworks or art crafts that you are accomplishing. So that's very important as an artist, because if so happen that you will be experiencing mistake or slight or little mistake in the process of doing the technique or utilizing the technique, you can easily identify where is the mistake. And since if you are doing it step by steps and you can easily identify where you have committed mistakes, you can easily go back, okay, and find solution on how to correct that particular mistakes that you have experiences or experienced rather. All right. So enumerating procedure is very important. Third, you have to conceptualize the design. The design is like a plan, okay? As if you are planning to build a house, that's architecture, that is a technique. So before you build a house, you should first make a design. The design will give you the idea on what will be the outcome of your art for or art crafts or artworks. Okay, it's a blueprint. So if you don't have the design, okay, you don't have something to follow. And if you don't have the design, it will be very difficult for you to enumerate the procedure or to identify the technique that you're going to use. That's why design is very important. So first, you need to conceptualize to create a design. And that design will serve as your blueprint, as your pattern in finishing your artworks, art crafts, and art works. Okay. Fourth, you need to identify the raw materials or materials available in the environment. So this is very important. So raw materials, no, these are the things that you need to use in order to create, okay, and finish your artwork and art crafts. So if you don't have these materials, if you will not identify, okay, most probably you may use materials that will not that are not appropriate in the technique that you will choose, no, and therefore there will be what we call mismatch, no, the technique does not conform to the raw material. So most probably the ending of that or the output of that will is failure on your part to create your or to finish your artwork and art craft. So raw materials, identifying the raw materials, these are very important so that you will have the complete idea on what specific things that you need to use in order to accomplish your artworks and art crafts. And number five, of course, you have to list down the alternative materials. If ever that the materials are not available in your vicinity or your environment, of course, you should have an option, second option or alternatives, okay? Do not allow the inability or unavailability of the raw materials to stop you or hinders you from finishing or doing your artworks and art crafts. That's why you have to list down the options or the alternative. If this particular materials or raw materials is expensive, you have to look for the alternative. But make sure that even if you're going to look for option or alternative, make sure it also possess quality, durability, and authenticity. Okay? Those are the requirements, no? Every time that you're going to use or you're going to scout or look for raw materials or alternative materials for your artworks, no? Make sure it possesses durability, okay? It possesses good quality and authenticity, okay? And then number six, you need to identify the durability and functionality of the materials, like I mentioned. Okay? Make sure that the materials are durable so that the artwork and the art crafts will last long. No, it will last for long. And at the same time, no, the functionality. What are the benefits that your art form, artworks, and art crafts, no, can be enjoyed by people. So how the your artworks and art crafts will enjoy or benefit people in the community. So that's the functionality. Okay, perhaps It will entertain people. That is also functionality. Or it can make the lives of people easy because they can use it in their daily living. That's the functionality, the benefits. So these are functionalities also an aspect that we need to consider, no, when we identify our raw materials that will be used in our artworks and art crafts. And then finally, you employ your creativity. This is very important. Like I said, the creativity, this is a requirement, no, part of your technique and style. If you possess the creativity, okay, you can effectively utilize the technique, okay, and you can effectively use the style. And the way you use the style and technique, it becomes you. It becomes your brand as a person. It reflects your personality. It reflects who you are. It reflects your intelligence as a person. And that is creativity. So all the artists, no, they employ creativity, and creativity is a product of their technique and style. That's why each artwork, each art crafts, these are different because we can see from this artwork and art craft the creativity, the technique, and style used by specific artists or master. Okay? All right. So thank you very much for listening to the discussion. I will give you an offline task. All right. Just visit your Teams General so that you can access the offline task for today. So I will see you next week in our another online class or meeting. I want you to enjoy your weekend. God bless you. And I'll see you again next week. Goodbye and thank you.